Hey guys, so for some individuals, the solution for eliminating crushing debt is to file for bankruptcy. While the catalyst for going that road differs from person to person, it's worth knowing which obligations can and cannot be discharged in bankruptcy. For instance, just last week, the US Supreme Court ruled in a 9-0 decision that an individual cannot discharge debt that arose due to the fraud of another person. But before this video, guys, please like this video and subscribe to my channel as it keeps me motivated to create these videos for you guys. Although the number of personal bankruptcies remains relatively low, it has been climbing. In January, there were almost 30,000 individual filings, according to the American Bankruptcy Institute. That's up 20% from 25,000 a year earlier. However, filings plummeted through 2021 and 2022 as pandemic aid and programs like stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment benefits, lenders allowing pauses on mortgage or rent, eased pressure on household balance sheets. The total household debt stood at $16.9 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2022, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. That includes $11.9 trillion in mortgages, $1.6 trillion in student loans, and another $1.6 trillion in car loans, and more than $990 billion in credit card debt. However, delinquencies have remained low. First, while most forms of consumer debt, credit card debt, personal loans, medical debt, mortgages, and auto loans are generally fair game for either eliminating or negotiating a lower payback amount in bankruptcy, that's not true for student loan debt. It's really difficult to obtain full discharge of student loans. You have to prove that your circumstances will never improve, and that being forced to repay them would be an undue hardship on you. Other debt that cannot be erased include child support and spousal support, alimony, and certain other debt owed as a part of court order during divorce may also be off limits. Support to the ex-spouse in the form of, say, continuing to cover a car lease payment. Additionally, if you incurred the debt by fraud, for example, you knowingly lie to a lender in the application process, you may not be able to erase it. So, if the lender can show that you provided false or misleading information in filing the loan application, information you should have known was incorrect, that debt could also be found not dischargeable. Also, if you run up your credit card beyond $800, excluding what's spent on necessities, within 90 days of filing, the law assumes it's fraud, according to the National Consumer Law Center. Same goes for cash advances above $1,100 from a single creditor in the 70 days ahead of filing bankruptcy. Taxes owed, unless older than the last 3 years of tax returns, generally speaking, cannot be discharged in bankruptcy either. And of course, any tax debt incurred by way of fraud would be not dischargeable under all circumstances. There are several ways to file for bankruptcy. Most individuals typically choose between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Each has filing fees of a few $100s, and enlisting an attorney can add $1,200 to about $3,500, depending on where you live and the complexity of your case. Both Chapter 7 and 13 stop collection activity like calls from creditors or debt collectors, wage garnishments, and potentially lawsuits from creditors. However, there are differences in who qualifies and how debt is treated in each option. Chapter 7 generally is for people who lack enough income to repay their debt and have little in the way of assets. They are subject to a means test before being approved. It also is the most common way to file individual bankruptcy. This approach can quickly erase certain forms of unsecured debt, including from credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans. It does not, however, necessarily stop your car from being repossessed or prevent home foreclosure, depending on the specifics of your case. Meanwhile, Chapter 13 generally gives you 3 to 5 years to pay back certain debt and keep the asset, for example, house or a car. It also prevents creditors from garnishing your wages or putting a levy on your bank account. For this filing option, you must have sufficient income and your debt must be below a certain amount. Currently, the limit is $2.75 million. For individuals with debt above that threshold, Chapter 11, which is largely similar to Chapter 13, might be the best choice. This is the least commonly used option for individuals. The good news is that your retirement assets, including 401k plans and individual retirement accounts that you own and contributed to, generally are protected in bankruptcy. Inherited IRAs do not get the same protection. An exception to this broad rule applies to IRAs, both traditional and Roth IRAs, up to a set amount per person. Currently, about $1.5 million is safe from creditors. Any excess could go to pay off creditors unless the judge rules otherwise. A big downside of bankruptcy is what it does to your credit score, which may already be suffering if you have become 30 or more days late on a loan or other credit obligation. The filing remains on a credit report for 7 to 10 years, although the impact decreases over time and your score will tick upward. Regardless of which bankruptcy approach you take, you should be prepared to provide detailed information on your financial life to the court. That includes tax returns and bank statements. Keep in mind too that having an initial consultation with a bankruptcy attorney is often free. They also might have suggestions for handling your debt that does not involve bankruptcy. Guys, did you think that bankruptcy automatically erases all of your debt? Leave your comments down below. So guys, if you like this video, please press thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as it keeps me motivated to create these videos for you guys. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.